on the third Tuesday when it's at 5:30. So it's just kind of built in. So we're just so excited today. I'm just so excited today because, today, some of us in here, and some people that might be on the way, some of us may just be, and whether you know it or not, you may be expecting. You might be a Sarah expecting with the pregnancy with a business. Come on now. You understand what I'm saying? You're expecting with a business, right? A business that you may not know how to get off the road, and you might not know how to do. So we're here at our Lamaze class, okay? I was Lamaze 37 years ago with my first baby, and so I learned how to do all the breathing and all of that so that I could properly bring her into the world, and she was born on her due date, okay? So we don't know what our due date is going to be for our business to get started, but we are here in labor and delivery prepping for our birth of our business. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, leading the charge that's going to help us with our breathing and our exercise and telling us every step of the way, who is going to hold our hand and show us the way, is none other than our friend who has been with us time and time again, who has shown us much love as we've gone through this financial literacy program, who has been with me through thick and thin. I'm telling you, he just goes without no, he doesn't even really need an introduction. I mean, because we go, as the old folks say, well back. Not way back, but well back, okay? And so, we just want to thank him, Mr. Victor Perez, along with his colleagues from South Georgia Banking Company today. And we thank them for sharing with us the refreshments today, all of the goodies that you see. Hey! No. We got company in the house. No. Anyway, this is what family does. When you're family, you just gotta do what you do. And we are so comfortable with each other because we've been together for 3 years now. December will mark 3 years that we've been doing this initiative, and we just feel at home. And this is just it is. We've got so comfortable now that sometimes we don't even register. We just show up. Okay, you can't even get Akron County anymore. You just show up. Like Ricky was just even saying today, he said, I hope I have enough food to tell all of this. If you don't, it's okay. It is what it is, right? So we're just so thankful that you all have come out. I've gotten so many calls about this class today. Just a few minutes ago, just got a call because somebody couldn't come because they were sick. They called to say they couldn't come because they were sick. That's just how important this class is. We've been having a lot of experience this year with all of the different classes, and I'm so excited that we continue to deliver what we said we were going to do. Okay? Whether we take the information and use it, we can't say that we didn't get it. Because if I ask the question now, how many of us have gotten that document, that POA? How many would raise their hand and say they've taken care of that? No. That's what I'm saying. See what I'm talking about? Right. Okay, so by December, somebody better have it done. That POA, it needs to be done. Man, they come in and give us information for us to sit on it and not take care of it. Right? So, that's all I'm going to sit down and get on my spot. Okay, so, without any further ado, we just got to get ready to breathe and let him hold our hand and show us the way to birth this business. Okay?
Thank you, Dr. Tim.
Okay, did I get it from y'all?
Can you all hear me all right? Or do you think I need a mic? Need a mic.
I'm going to turn it up. You keep talking. I'm going to see you got to turn it up.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be back. Like Dr. Tim mentioned, it's been a long journey, 3 years. And this class is about to wrap up. I'm so glad to be back and be able to talk to you all about starting your own business, right? What an exciting topic. First of all, let's do some housekeeping, right? If you haven't been here before, you have refreshments there in the corner. Feel free to help yourself. Bathrooms are through that door on the left. give you the disclaimer, right? So the information contained in this workshop is for educational and informational purposes only. It should not be construed as financial or investment advice, okay? But we're gonna, it's gonna be very low-key. You can ask me any question. If you have a question, just raise your hand, I'll call on you. We'll get through the material. It takes about an hour, so buckle in, okay? And we are gonna get started. All right, here we go. Now you can hear me. So we're here to talk about, well, first of all, Dr. Tiff did a great job introducing me. So my name is Victor Pires. I serve today as an executive vice president over at South Georgia Banking Company. We got actually two other executive officers here with us today, and then Kaylee Yon, our retail banking manager lead, and Kelly Johnson there in the corner, who helps us with compliance. So lots of great areas of the bank covered here today. So, owning your own small business can be extremely rewarding, right? It can offer you a lot of things. Independence, it can help you personal growth, satisfaction. Small businesses are also pretty crucial to the U.S. economy. It generates over 60% of the new jobs every year. It's a lot, right? All from small businesses. Research shows that Americans start an average of 4.4 million new businesses a year. 4.4 million new businesses a year. But unfortunately, after 5 years, half of those businesses have gone under and are no longer here. Right? So it's not easy running a small business. The 5 most common reasons small businesses fail are because you don't do enough market research, right? Or you jump into it without a business or marketing plan. Or you just don't follow through with stuff. This class has talked a lot about budgeting. Well, you got to budget if you own a small business, right? So poor budgeting and cash management is another reason businesses fail. And then just trying to do it on your own without asking for advice or seeking guidance is also a big reason why businesses fail. But it's important that you lean on your resources to help you be successful. So this workshop today is designed to give you information and guidance that you need to avoid these common pitfalls so you can launch and build a successful small business. Okay? Now, while your product or service may be unique in what you're trying to offer, right? As a small business, as a business owner, you're either selling a product or a service, right? And your product or service may be unique, but the steps in building and sustaining a successful small business are well established, right? There's many free available resources out there, but you have, hopefully each of you have a participant's guide. Kind of looks like this. If you don't have one, there's some up there at the desk. So please grab that, because we'll be utilizing that as we go through the workshop. So let's look at the agenda here, what we're going to be talking about. So in this workshop, we're going to talk about develop and qualifying your business idea with market research, right? We're going to talk about understanding the importance of the legal and financial considerations that you got to give thought to when you start a business. And that's all important stuff. We're going to go through steps to learn about building a business brand. We're going to talk about discovering marketing and sales strategies. And then finally, I'm going to let you go with a list of free resources and support that you can use to start your own business. How's that sound? Sound good? Okay. All right. I'm going to start out with a poll, okay? So I'm going to poll. So let me ask you this. When starting a small business, just raise your hand. Why are you here, right? Are you looking for the right business idea? Anybody looking for the right business idea? Nobody looking for the right business idea. Do you have a business idea but want to learn how to get started? Okay, a couple of those. Excellent. Have you been working on an idea for a while and want to help it move it forward? Okay, all right. That gives me an idea of how to help you. Are you already selling a product or service but want to learn how to develop and build your business further? Anybody an existing owner? Okay, a couple of you already. Any other scenarios that I didn't cover while you're here? Y'all, I'm going to need you to participate with me, okay? Otherwise, it's going to be a long night. Okay. Well, whether you're already started your own business or you're looking for the right idea, if it's market research you need help with to help reduce risk or identify opportunities, we're going to help you and talk about connecting you with customers to make more informed decisions and be more competitive. So market research. Market research is an essential step that helps you understand your competitors and customers, right? So if you want to start a business, you've got to do some market research. Otherwise, you're not going to be successful. A lot of people miss that initial step. It will save you time in the long run. It's going to save you effort. It's going to save you money at every stage of your business development. So market research, right? So there's 4 components of market research that you want to think about when you're crafting your plan. One is demand, right? Research will help you determine the demand for your product or service, right? If there's strong demand, many customers want your product, they're willing to pay for it. If the market is saturated with similar products, the number of potential customers is small, right? You'll struggle to build your business, even if what you're selling is great. So let's think of Tifton. Y'all, I don't want another convenience store. Please, no more convenience stores. We got too many convenience stores, right? Thrift shops, we got a lot of those, right? And then Mexican restaurants, those are on my drink list. So you want to learn as much as possible about the people who want to buy your product, right, or service. So when you're doing the demand research, like how old are the folks that are in your market, right? What are their interests? What do they want your product? Why do they want to buy your product or service? And what would motivate them to buy, right? So those are questions that you've got to ask yourself when you're doing the research, the market research on the demand in your area. You also got to look at your location and reach, right? Where are your customers and how do you reach them? Your approach to researching location and reach is going to depend whether or not you're a brick and mortar business or you're an online business, right? Like, who do you want to serve? And if you have a physical location, you want to ensure that it's accessible to people who want your product or service, right? And then if you have an online business, you want to know where your customers shop and then the keywords and phrases they use in search. So that way you can craft your plan to help those words come up to your point to your site, right? So who are your competitors? Competition is next. So you've got demand, you got the location and reach that you're figuring out. Then it's like, who am I going to compete with? Talked about Mexican restaurants. I love me some Taco Loco, right? I don't know if you know this, but there's a debate of who has the best steak in Tifton, right? And it's between Taco Loco, Fresco, and Pit Stop. I'm not going to weigh in on which one I think ought to be there, but competitors, and you wouldn't think like that Taco Loco would be a competitor to Pit Stop, right? But they are. They're food businesses. They're competing for your dollars. So who's your competition? You got to know that to be successful. And you can learn a lot about your competition, right, by seeing what they're doing. So people don't always buy the lowest price option, right? Like, I love me some Taco Loco, but I don't love that price on that steak. El Jarocho here has a much better deal on fajitas or carne asada, right? So people don't always buy the lowest price option. In some cases they do,
But in some cases, they're willing to pay a little bit more for quality or convenience, right? Or to a company they know and like. Apple, for example, right? You might be willing to pay more for an iPhone than an Android-based phone because you like the company, like the brand. However, you got to make sure that you can be profitable at whatever price point you're pricing your product at, and making sure that aligns within the same range as your competitor. That's pretty crucial. So in your participants guide, if you turn to page 3, right, there's a little section there that will help you in conducting market research for your business idea. So it'll help you guide through that process. We're not going to fill it out today during this workshop, but you can take this with you as a handy guide when you're ready to do that market research. And then if you need this in an electronic format, we have those as well, and we can get with Dr. Tiff and make sure that you get that. So, let's look at some examples of someone doing market research on your business idea, right? But before I go there, can you tell me, anyone, raise your hand, tell me what are the 4 components of market research that we just talked about? Yeah, demand, location and reach, right? Competition and pricing. Those are the main 4 criteria that you want to prep with when you start doing your market research. All right, we got Jan here. Jan wants to sell grilled sandwiches out of a food truck. She's going to use market research to investigate her idea. Right, so what is Jan going to do? Well, first she's going to look at the demand, like we talked about, right? Her city has several isolated industrial areas with hundreds of workers who don't have time to drive somewhere else to get lunch. But she's always seeing long lines at the food trucks at lunchtime. So she knows that it's strong demand, right? So she's visually seeing, oh my gosh, there's a lot of people eating at these food trucks. You know, I want some of that. Right? I want to make some money that way. So she knows her target location, right? She discovers that so when she's doing her research, she sees that there's 3 shifts in this industrial park, and people are eating lunch at different times. They're staggering those lunches. Like even at the bank, our folks go to lunch, 11, 12, 1, 2 sometimes, right? So you have staggered lunch times. So Jan visits these areas, and she goes out there several times a month. She inspects how folks are eating their lunch. She's looking at the competition. She talks to the customers, right, and learns that several of the food trucks that visit her area only sell sandwiches. Maybe one of them sells a hamburger, but she's pretty confident that her grilled sandwiches are going to be a new tasty option here. So she's feeling pretty good, even though there's other competition for food trucks, that her product's going to be a little different. Jan will analyze other people's menus, right? So she'll look at the popular food trucks to find out how much people are paying for a lunch over there. That's part of that research. And that can range from $8 to $15. I have a hard time eating for less than $20 on it here in town. I try to stick to 10, but it's not easy. Everything is between that $8 and $15 these days. But she thinks she can make a profit at those prices, right? And then she's going to do some financial analysis with that. So, market research, right? Demand, location, reach, competition, and pricing. So now that you know how to use market research to qualify and develop a business idea, let's look at some other important foundational building blocks for your business plan. I'm going to go here to the next slide. So you know what to do from a market research, but now how are you going to structure your business? I think that would be your next step. Right? So you do your research. Now, how are you going to legally be set up, right? Because your business structure has important tax and legal consequences, right? And these here are the 4 most common legal structures of a business, right? And you can change the business legal structure as your business grows, so you're not married to these forever. So sole proprietorship, So that's the most common. The sole proprietorship is the default business structure, right? It's you starting a business on your own. You're the sole proprietor, right? Victor's Tacos. I own the shop, right? Another business structure could be a partnership. So you and a friend decide, you know what, Victor, I want to open that taco shop with you. Then, if we do it that way, then we would want to craft a partnership agreement between the two of us, or even if there's more people, other investors that might want to invest in the business. And we get together and we write a business agreement. It's essential to start your business with one or more partners. A business agreement is going to help you define the roles, the contributions of each partner. What are they responsible for? And if something goes wrong, what's the exit strategy? Right? So you go into partnership, you got to have a partnership agreement. A limited liability company is the next one there. So LLC for short. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. Some states require an LLC to have at least 2 owner members. Some allow single-member LLCs. Georgia allows single-member LLCs. So an LLC, in essence, is just a business legal structure that helps provide you some liability protection as long as you keep your LLC valid, you follow the guidelines, right? So for example, with an LLC, you want to keep your personal and business finances separate and making sure that you're following all the right protocol with the state. Right? You can register an LLC with the state. You can have a legal expert help you do it. You can also do it on your own. Right? You can go to the Georgia Secretary of State website and file your own LLC if you want to. But before you do that, you also need an EIN number, and we're going to get into that. But the other business structure you got there is a corporation. So there's different types of corporations. Usually corporations are suited for larger businesses. They offer some financial benefits, some liability benefits, and some tax advantages for being a larger company, larger corporation. But you don't need to decide this stuff now, or I'm just giving you the different legal structures. In your participants guide on page 4, you have that information there as well. So when you do your market research and you decide on a business structure, you can go to page 4 and they'll help guide you through it.
Question.
Yeah.
Why don't you explain LLCs more? I was a photographer for 25 years and went LLC for a specific reason.
Yeah.
But the problem is most people will go into a sole proprietorship and then they find out there's nothing left and they get sued because the guy fell in front.
Right. That is one of the main differences in the benefit of having an LLC is to protect your personal assets from a lawsuit, right? So if I open Victor's Taco Shop as a sole proprietor, you come at my business to eat, and for some reason, I left out the meat last night and I put it in the fridge and I served you bad meat, you get some horrible E. coli food poisoning, right? Well, you can come after my personal assets if you're sole proprietor, right? So if you file any litigation against me, you can go after my assets. An LLC helps buffer that for you and protects your personal assets from the business assets. So it keeps those things separate. That's a great benefit to call it. Thank you for that. Any other questions so far? No? Okay. If you have a question, just interrupt me, okay? We're going to go through the completing a business plan now, because that's the next step. So you've done your research, you know your structure, now you got to do a business plan, right? So a business plan is an initial roadmap to your success. Writing a business plan helps you identify, what type of available resources do I have, what are suppliers in my area, who are the customers I'm going to target, financial plan, right? What are the different avenues of sales do I have? So your business plan is a living document that will change as you continue to expand your business, right? So it's not a static document, but it's important to have one. It's crucial to have one. Even, for example, if you go to a financial institution for a loan and you're just a fresh business that just started, knowing that most of these businesses fail within 2 to 5 years, right? What is the institution going to ask you for? Is like, do you have your business plan? You know, and if that business plan has projections of sales, that also helps a lot, helping you be successful. So let's talk more about business plans. So you can start, you know, with the 1, 3, or 5 year plan. Your business plan should include an executive summary of what you're going to be doing, right? It should include a description of your company, right? It should cover market analysis based on the research you've done, right? It should specify what you're going to be doing, what products or services you're going to offer, right? If you have marketing and sales strategies in there, that definitely helps your business plan. How many employees do you plan on having, if any, right? Or other details like an operational plan or financial projections. Those are all good components of your business plan. And you don't have to develop your business plan alone, right? There are many free and affordable resources out there to help you. And if you look at your participant guide, page 5, it talks about some of those resources. All right. One mistake many small business owners make is jumping in without a plan. That's one of the main reasons why they fail. But let me ask you, are there some reasons people may want to start without a business plan? You want to?
Business plans are hard to do sometimes. I mean, people perceive them as hard to do. They're time
Or
and they don't know how to start.
Or you fall into it.
You fall into it, you inherit that business.
No, I was a news photographer, and I happened to have got taken a picture that they wanted, and okay, this is easier to make living, and built on that. Didn't have a business plan at first. I was in college at the time, and after I graduated, and my brother luckily was the Catholic person, he said that was LLC.
Yeah. So you kind of figure out as you went, right?
Yeah, I was pretty much playing it by ear the first 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, some folks, they're excited about their business idea, right? So I just want to go. I just want to get started. But yeah, writing a business plan is definitely can seem complicated, Dr. Tiff. I get it.
Do you have to have, I mean, do you have to have one? I mean, most banks, if you, I mean, when you go to a bank and you're asking for money to start one, I mean, most banks want you to have one? I'm sure they do, but will they loan you money if you don't, if you have a real solid, how you're gonna do it, what you plan on doing, you know, not necessarily Shark Tank, but I'm saying.
Yeah, I would say if you're an established business over 2 years and you're doing well, no one's going to ask you for your business plan. They might.
You're right, it's established, you've got history, you've got financials, you've got tax returns, you've got something that, you know, that's proven, hey, I've started this, I don't necessarily have a plan, I've got a plan, but here's what I've done, here's my history, then you've got some support what you're saying. So, and one thing to remember too, you know, you may not need a loan, you know, depending on the business you start. This is a 30,000 foot overview to get you started, but if you don't need a loan, some of this you may, I mean, I've got in my head what I want the business plan to be, but if you want to partner with a bank or another, you know, somebody's investing in your plan with you, yeah, you probably need to have something written down if you're not, like you said, if you're not buying a business or if you've already been in business for several years or whatever. It's just, you know, this is what I want to do, and, you know, I'm starting from the ground up. You probably definitely would want a business plan, so you can articulate that back to whomever you're asking to invest in this plan with you, that you've got to pay this kind of mapped out. Now, it's going to change, like you said, it's a little bit, but so you probably would base this in on brand.
Yeah, absolutely. What would be some advantages of having a well thought out business plan? So what would be some of the advantages of having a well thought out business plan?
I think it should increase your possibility of being successful. When you're doing all of these things, you're doing for this business plan, market analysis,
service is, how you're going to sell it, you know, who's going to be your target customer. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. You know, how can you see a clear financial plan and know what it's going to take them to be profitable, right?
Talking, going on this, taking it off on a tangent. You draw up a business plan, everything looks great to you. A lot of businesses I've dealt with in the past failed. They were totally over-optimistic. Their financials were...
The projections.
Down here. Would a bank or somebody be willing to take a look at a business plan as an uninterested party even if you're not going for a loan?
It's uncommon that a bank, like if you know a banker personally and you, hey, Victor, take a look at my plan, give me your feedback on it. It's not something they do as a service, but you do have entities like the UGA Extension Campus that will help you craft a business plan. They will look at it with you for free. So even though a financial institution, and that's a great idea, maybe financial institutions ought to be doing that as a service, right? You charge a little money, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I'd like to have hour of your time, can you look over this real quick, and think about doing a business, and it looks like it's gonna work. I'd be very happy to get an account to the bank.
Yeah. If you Google search Small Business Development Center, SBDC, from UGA, they offer free service for you to develop a business plan. You can work with a counselor over the years. It's all free. They can also recommend you with other resources available for you to start or for you to modify your existing business. So SBDC.
No, I appreciate that. I haven't been in a real nice position, I call up people to my taxes, with my brothers go.
Yeah.
And go, you need to look at this. But, yeah, I mean, I know two people that are thinking about starting a business, and I tell them, talk to the UGA. And one of mine gave me the paperwork to look at.
Yeah.
How do you honestly expect to be making $500,000 in this town in 2 years?
Yeah, I think the UGA small business area will help temper those expectations. And
Which is what I told them, you need to tone this down.
Absolutely. Thank you, Doctor. The next important foundation building block of your company is your business brand, right? So your business brand, let's start over here, includes, you know, the name of your company, all the marketing, sales, promotion materials you have for your business, right? So let's use South Georgia Banking Company example. Like you can see our brand, right? I got you some little piggy banks there. You're welcome to take those home.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, we have a nice little tablecloth there in the back with our brand.
Please fill them up and bring them back to the bank.
Yeah, please put them up and bring back to the bank. We'll open you up a savings account or something. So establishing a brand is really, really important. So building your business brand, choosing the name of your business. If your business name consists of your first and last name, you don't need to register that name, right? Usually. So Victor Paris Tacos, right? But if I'm going to be doing business as a different name or a DBA, sometimes they call it an FNB, which stands for fictitious business name, then you're going to want to register that name with the state. So sometimes it's called an assumed name or trade name, but regardless of the term used in our area, it's critical to make sure that, one, the name is available, right? You may want to call yourself South Georgia Banking Company, but you can't. That's us. Right? So is that name available in our state or county database, right? So you do that before filing. You also want to check to see if that domain name is also available when it comes to your business name. So a domain name would be your website address, right? So for example, sgbc.com is not available, right? Well, someone took that domain and they wanted to charge us $100,000 if we wanted to use sgbc.com. So we don't use sgbc.com, right? We use sgbc.bank. So making sure the domain name is available is also very important. Because your domain name, your website address, you want that to match as closely as possible to your business name. So it's smart to check to make sure that the domain for the name is available and that no one else has taken that name in the state.
How much do you pay for a domain?
It varies, honestly. Some can be as low as $10. Some can be as high as, over hundreds of thousands, 6 figures. A lot of domain names in, I want to say it's Antigua, or one of the Caribbean countries has a .ai. So if you look at different addresses at different places, right? Like Brazil is not .com, right? It's .com.br. So it's got a country suffix. Now with the AI boom, the country that offered .ai is selling those business names for an extreme price. So it varies. The shorter the name, it usually indicates a higher price, right? So if it's SGBC, right, they're only looking at 4 letters, it's easy for people to remember that. So they're going to charge you for the smaller domain.
You can go to these companies, I can't remember the name of them anymore, that advertise, they'll build you a website.
Yeah.
They'll host the domain.
Yeah.
They'll even maintain it for you.
Right. And then they can tell you if it's available too. Yeah. So it varies, the price varies. But I'm not sure, that's a good takeaway for me, is I'm not sure how much they can charge. I guess there's no cap, it's just,
So one site I have that I own costs me $25 a year.
yeah, right. That's pretty good.
I have somebody that wants it really bad.
Yeah. Well, and now you can charge them for that higher price if you want to sell them.
Let's put it this way, he's too cheap and doesn't make payments like he's supposed to.
Okay, he's not going to get that domain.
How do you get the domain? Where do you get?
Go online and do a search for companies that do websites and that.
Yeah, you
I'll be
got
honest, I can't remember the company I'm even with. I think just,
like Wix, GoDaddy.
yeah, GoDaddy's a big one, and they will help you set up a domain. Tell what you're looking for and see if I come up, and they'll even host it for you.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So once you registered your business name and you can choose the other elements of your branding, you got your domain set up. All right. Let's go to consistency across all your business materials is also important, right? You want to project a professional image that helps build trust. So when you choose your brand elements, you want to make it easy to convey a consistent and professional image. Like for example, your branding colors and fonts and the voice, you want that all to be consistent across all your marketing materials, from your logo to your website to any materials you create. It's funny, I was talking to Caroline just about this very topic just a few minutes ago. She was saying, wow, your slides are really branded nice. Well, we're intentional about that, right? We don't want folks going out in our communities creating their own PowerPoints without making sure that that's not consistent with our brand, right? So having your brand presence be consistent is really important. Our marketing liaison, right? She makes sure that, and she reports to Melinda. Melinda's our boss. She's not here today. Her name's Megan. Megan's very passionate to make sure that our brand reflects our values, that it tells us about who South Georgia Bank Company is, right? So your brand will include all those elements. Your brand voice. All right, so your branding is about how customers see and perceive your business. Let's look at some important behind-the-scene foundational building blocks when it comes to branding here. There we go. So there are a few legal and financial items to take care of as you prepare to launch your business, right? You got to go through each of them. In your participants guide on page 6, you have some information there to help you with that. So that's why those participant guides are really, really handy to have. But yeah, most important though, when you start a business, separate your money. Don't operate your business with your own funds. Because then you don't know what's your business and what's yours, right? You don't want to live out of your business. It's just not a good setup for you. And when you're a sole proprietor, sometimes that's hard, right? But you want, even if you're a sole proprietor, you want to separate your personal and business funds as soon as possible. So it's an essential step in. You also want to start building business credit. Is another big component. Because you want to help maximize any tax deductions you have. You might be out there 4 years of business. You want to better manage your cash flow. So a really important step in owning a business that's successful is separating the personal from the business. And to do that, you have to get a EIN number, right? If you're going to file taxes on your business as its own legal entity, so an EIN number, that's just a federal tax ID number. It's basically a social security number for a business. It stands for Employer Identification Number. So it allows you to open a business, with the EIN you can facilitate you opening a business account and helping you build business credit, right? And you also don't want your social out there for people to see, right? So it's better just to give them the EIN number than your own personal information. Some states, depending on what you do, they're going to want you to have a state tax ID, right? So if you sell goods and services that are subject to sales or excise taxes, or if you have employees, right, you're going to want to have a state tax ID number, and or state tax ID. And you can find out for sure on the state's website, so Georgia Secretary of State. So for example, in our state, like, say furniture or car parts are subject to sales tax, but a grocery item like raspberry jam is not, right? You gotta make sure that you've got the right posture when it comes to taxes for your business, because you don't want to get in trouble with the state. Because the state's going to want you to collect some tax. Very important part of establishing a successful business is having a business bank account. So you can open a business bank account, with your local bank. I know of one. Our community has a lot of different banks to choose from, though, and they're great banks here in Tifton. So open up that business account. Make sure that they're FDIC insured, right? You have a lot of financial technology companies out there that are wanting to serve in the space of banks, but they're not banks. Your money's not insured, right? When I think of PayPal, Square, those companies, they provide financial services, but they're not a bank. And that's important because with the bank, you get FDIC insurance, right? So where, say, PayPal goes out of business, and your money's with PayPal, they don't have to give you any money back. Right? If your money is with a local community bank, and they're FDIC insured, and something happens to them, potential of getting your money back increases drastically. So be sure to get any required, licenses too and permits. Even if your business is online, you may still need to do that, right? So just because your business is online doesn't mean you don't have to pay tax. You got to look into that a little closer. How are we feeling so far? Good? Okay. We're going to go here to slide 12. Legal and financial considerations. We've already talked about those. AI. Who's heard of AI? Okay. Artificial intelligence, right? ChatGPT is the most common one. You got some other ones out there. Copilot is the Microsoft one. You got Gemini from Google. Grok, which is the Elon Musk AI platform. But you can leverage this generative AI to help you build your business plan. Right? ChatGPT is a powerful tool, and you can do at least 10 different ways to start your business. Right? You got the slide up there. So those are 10 ways you can use AI to help you craft the stuff that we're talking about today.
But you have to be careful on AI.
You do, and that's where I was going to go to next, right? Generative AI will answer the questions you give it, right? And it can play the role of a business consultant, per se, for you. And it can adopt your tone at your request, but you definitely want to inspect what you put in there to make sure it's accurate. For important questions or documents, it's worth making your request a few different ways to ensure that you get a consistent answer. Right? So ChatGPT can help most with your business. You can include an item from the list on the slide here or share your own. Right? Get your business started, you put that in there, it will give you some ideas, but definitely inspect what comes out of it because it isn't necessarily 100% accurate. And it can change based on what you ask it. But it can help you save you some time. So you can use the ChatGPT to help you develop an operational plan, right? A business plan. So basically all you do is you go in there and you say, hey, write me an operational plan, detailed map of what I want to accomplish in the next 3 to 6 months or 1 year. Or you can ask, what do I need to get started? So there's all sorts of different prompts that you can do to help AI help you get your business off the ground. On page 7 of your participant guide, you'll see 4 questions there. You can use ChatGPT to help you develop your answers to these questions. So a successful operational plan will include, so when you go towards goal setting for creating your business, you want your goals to be SMART goals, right? And those are specific, they're measurable goals. So when you're using the prompts, instead of, get my business finances organized, you might want to write, get my federal ID number, tell me, identify where I can open a bank, and it will help guide you through those things. Any questions about using AI to help you?
Just be careful what you put in. The reason being is it's drawing off of everybody else.
Yeah, there's
You
different.
get the wrong answers. I'll give you a perfect example. I have 3 weeks ago, this gentleman in Canada that went to get a math question for his son because he couldn't figure it out. And he came back with an answer, and the guy goes, this looks like a national security issue. So he got a hold of Canadian intelligence people. He thought it turned out to be ChatGPT. And it was telling him, you found all this stuff and it's being handled, it's being given the FBI and everything.
Yeah.
He finally called the agency to find out what's going on. And they said, he just went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. new technology. There's different levels of security within AI, right? There's models that will actually train other stuff, right? You feed it information and it will help train answers for other people, right? And there's models that don't use your inputs to train, right? So there's different levels of AI as well, so you gotta look into that as well. All right, let's go to the next slide here. We talked about SMART goal setting, helping leverage AI to help you outline some steps and establishing timelines. And then who's going to be responsible for what, right? So that's your operational plan. Let's go back to Jan and look at operational planning a little closer. So Jan, she's got her research done. She got her business name done. She's crafting a 3-month operational plan for her panini food truck. She has a truck, she's got a menu. Look at these tasks here that Jan has done, right? So this is part of her research. You know, Jan, you can see there in your participant guide too, that she set a deadline for each task. She also broke down 2 of the bigger tasks into smaller pieces. So stay on point, give yourself deadlines, make sure, break those down into smaller bites. I'm gonna create this element of my business plan by X, right? I'm gonna do this market research by the end of the month. And so take it in baby steps. You don't have to bite this thing all at once or eat this elephant all at once. But as you look at Jan's operational plan here, what stands out to you? What do you like about Jan's plan there? So she's registering her business, right? So she's going to be called Panini Palooza. She got her federal EIN number, even though she's a sole proprietor. She went to her local bank and opened a business account, right? Sign up with Clover or Square. Those are products to help you accept payments, right? But you have different options there too. Like for example, our bank, we have a solution that comes with our business account that allows you to accept credit cards, basically on your phone. So you can literally turn your iPhone into a merchant terminal, which is pretty neat. So there's different solutions when it comes to card acceptance. Jan's got her licenses, she's got her permits, right? She's got her financial projections, she's got her operating budget, she's got all her stuff there, right? She developed her business brand, she's got her menu, she starts a business Instagram account too to help build some anticipation. Are there anything specific that you like about this plan that she's got? Is it pretty comprehensive to you?
It's missing health department.
It's missing health department. Yeah, Jan. That's where the research comes in.
I mean, she's got to go through a final inspection before she's open.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So as comprehensive as it is, it's still missing some key components, right? So we're going to tell Jan that she's got to go see that inspector. All right. So we covered some foundational building blocks of your business, right? Let's move on here and look at another important component when it comes to getting your business off the ground: marketing and sales. So marketing is the process of advertising and promoting your product or service, right? So that new customers can find you. Once a prospect finds your company, sales in the process of either converting a lead into a customer or nurturing that lead, making sure they're ready to buy, right? So let's take a deeper look into the marketing and sales. And we're going to start with marketing. So marketing, there's generally 2 categories of marketing activities: advertising and promotion versus organic marketing strategies, right? So when you advertise, sometimes you require a budget, right? You're going to make sure you have enough money to do marketing. And sometimes it may take some time. It may take some trial and error to make sure you get the right response. Organic marketing is a little less expensive up front, but it requires more of your time and energy. Some of the advantages from organic marketing is it can build momentum over time, kind of like a snowball that builds into an avalanche. It can be a great source of new customers for you. What do I mean about organic marketing strategies? For example, I opened your account last year. You went out and told 5 friends that I gave you good service, right? I didn't have to spend a dime for that, right? Just my good service helped you market me. Right? If I go and I eat at your outfit, like I did at Taco Look, right? Talking about their steak. That's organic type of marketing, right? Taco Look didn't have to pay me. should, some free fajitas or something. So it's, so you have different ways that you can tackle marketing, but what's important is don't stretch yourself too thin when you're messing with marketing. Try to pick 2 or 3 strategies and work on those first, and then add additional strategies, right? With social media, you don't have to be in LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Snap, I don't know, there's something, X. Like, pick your lane, right? Pick 2 or 3 to focus on. You don't have to have all of them. And really lean into those. Like, for example, we focus on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn as a company. We're not on TikTok, maybe we should be, right? That's another one that we'll look at. Not yet. Yeah, so there's all sorts of different mediums to get some advertising done. All right. But sales and marketing, they kind of go hand in hand with each other. Let's go over to sales strategy. Did anybody have any questions on the marketing component? We're good on time. All right, sales strategies. So whether you invest in paid advertising or organic marketing, you want to make sure that most of every potential customer who finds your business, like you want to make sure that you're structuring your marketing where customers are going to find your business, right? So a successful sales strategy, like you want to make sure you know who your prospects are. You want to kind of engage them in a way that they're aware of your company, so they know how to choose you to do business with you. Like, for example, we'll use Southbridge Bank Company as an example. A checking account is a checking account is a checking account, okay? For the most part. Like, why would you open a checking account with, say, Southbridge Bank Company versus some other larger financial institution? Well, our value proposition is we are in your market, right? We know the financial conditions of what's happening around you. A financial institution in North Carolina or Mississippi or California, they don't know what's going on here, right? So those are some important things to keep in mind when you're looking to do business with somebody or how you're going to market yourself. Like, what makes your product different than anybody else? What's going to propel somebody to come see you over a competitor? Right? So those are things that you definitely want to focus on. I'm sorry, sir, what was your business type?
Mine?
Yeah, you got a photography business?
I was a photojournalist.
Photojournalist. Are there any other photojournalist businesses up here in town?
I have no idea. Catch is, everybody's got one of these.
Yeah.
I quit doing it. I also work for the Department of Defense. I work for several magazines. I've been in 3 military aircraft accidents, and just one day said I had enough. And about 8 years later, I happen to be at a site that something happened, had shot real films to that, and contacted an outlet, and they said, well, we'll put your name on it. And I went, the only way I do it is my name's spelled right, but check doesn't bounce. And they said, go to hell. Now they called me back 2 hours later, what do you want for the picture? And I said, you could have had it for like 25 or 50 bucks. Multiply it by 10 now. They hate it. But at this point, what I'm doing is I'm looking at doing a YouTube channel, because when my wife retires, we're going to probably leave half the year.
Yeah.
And she's a faculty member over at ABAC, and she's talking about writing a book, so she's talking about doing that. But that's what I did. And that's one of the reasons I had the LLC, because I was exposed to way too much.
Yeah. And who was your main competitor with it? Who'd you compete with?
At the time I was doing it, newspapers, television
Newspapers,
stations,
television.
yeah, I shot video too, and that's who I was up against. And I was doing it in places like Madison, Wisconsin, when I ended up with Newsweek and DOD. I was all over the world. But I had a reputation being in the wrong place at the right time. And
So that's what caused people to gravitate towards your product?
that's why I got assigned a lot of stuff. And spent some time with Jimmy Carter because of
Nice.
the White House. So that's what I do.
Yeah. Did you, so the sales component of it, did you ever have to talk about objections or overcome objections?
Yeah, basically, what would happen is I would have to go in and sell myself to you. I can do this for you. Let me know when you need something. And once they get a hold of me, it's just a matter of just making sure I met their expectations, because for quite a while I was making some big.
Yeah.
And spending it that fast too.
That's right, that's right. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. Is what I'm talking about resonating a little bit with y'all? Like, does that seem like good steps so far? Do you have any questions for me so far? You know, I know it's a little dry sometimes.
How to find the right lawyer and the right accountant set up there?
Oh my gosh, yeah. If you find a good one, let me know.
One question I've got to look at, but our problem company, we're moving around in different states, so we're going to have to look at it differently. But what about state sales taxes?
Yeah, I'm not an expert on state sales taxes, so I can't speak to it beyond, help and provide you the website to go and look at what the state is asking you to do. The Georgia Secretary of State primarily. Because I know there's some sales tax exemptions out there depending on what your product is. So depending on what your industry is, so there's a lot of different variables.
Well, I mean, I've lived in Alaska, there's no tax.
Yeah.
We've lived in Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, Wisconsin. At least when we lived there, if you were doing a quote service, no sales tax.
Yeah.
But in Minnesota, they did for 10%.
So what do you mean you can register your business at different states and avoid the sales tax?
They'll get all the information.
To avoid it, like you're saying, go to Florida, register there, do what they say to do that.
Yeah, South Dakota.
I know that Georgia's looking into potentially eliminating sales tax.
South Dakota, you have to only be in the state one night every 5 years. You don't even have to be there to get your driver's license.
Gotcha. Huh. Yeah, no, but you definitely need partners, like the doctor here was saying. Finding a good accountant, I think that's important.
That's probably the best. That's finding an accountant in the state.
Finding a good accountant, a good CPA. I look at a lot of reviews. Like whenever I'm engaging a lawyer, I'll look at the reviews, kind of see how they treated other people, and see if that applies to me. Price also matters to me when I'm looking at those things. Like Car Rigs and Ingram might charge me something different than Sims and Fleming, right?
Well, and a lot of lawyers have specialties,
Right.
so you might look into that and start a new business who really is good at that.
That's
Anybody can do it, but if you have a lot of questions, you might look at one that's their thing.
And that's a part of your research, in my mind, package, when you're doing your research is, do I need an attorney? Like Melinda said, if I do, what specialty? An accountant? That's a good idea when you get into, to a certain level of business. An accountant, a good accountant and a good attorney will pay for themselves in the long run to keep your assets safe, as you mentioned, with the liability. And to help you save, and I say this, and this sounds silly, but it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. It's easy to make money, it's hard to keep money. So if you make $1 million in a business, but if you spend $1 million in one, you're $1 in the hole. So that's the important part when you're looking at a business financial is, hey, where can I cut here, where can I make this better, where can I be more efficient? So when you get those gross sales up there where you want it, you want to keep more of that pie, for your profit. And that's the difficult part. That's where the magic comes in. That's where a good accounting can help.
Well, the best thing is, like with my brother, I have a question, a legal question,
fits into that category. That's right. All right, let's go back to sales strategies, right? So, if your business is online or in person, your sales success pivots on capturing a prospect's attention and keeping them engaged until they're ready to buy your product, right? So when someone finds your company, give them a reason to sign up for your mailing list, right? Or follow your social media profile. Right? Value add, right? If you are in the leads business, you want to nurture leads, keep them engaged with information, offer them interesting information that is valuable to them. Right? Email, social media, in-person events are common ways to nurture leads. Overcome any objections on your website or email by answering questions frequently, right? So sometimes this happens to us. I went to your branch and put a hold on my check. I can't have my money for X amount of days. I'm upset. That's out there in social media, right? We're not going to sit idly by and let that happen, right? We're going to respond to you. So as a business owner, you want to make sure they're always engaged with your customer base. Address the hard things. Don't shy away from those. So consistently offering value is the key to nurturing those leads and building customer relationships. Because a relationship, it's just like a relationship in real life, right? Like, I hate, like for example, I'm not a fan of financial institutions that are transactional, right? Now I'm biased because I'm a banker, I guess. But if I'm going in there just to cash my check, and that's all you do for me, how else are you helping me? Right? I have needs that, as a banker, I want you to help identify for me, right? So I would want to say, hey, Victor, I noticed you're in here cashing your check, but taking all this money and you're going to go spend it. Like, you have a savings strategy? No, I haven't thought about savings. Well, maybe you should, right? Making sure that you have something in the future to pass on to somebody else, right? So you always have to making sure that as a successful business owner, you're adding value to people, right? Like us in the banking business, we want to help save time for you. Right? Nobody's got time to do anything these days. So we want to make things convenient for you. You can do banking in your own terms, right? Bust out your phone and do a mobile deposit, right? It saves you time. We're in the business of saving you money, right? Or helping you make more money. So it's always important to making sure that part of the sales strategy actually brings good value to your customer base. Because you're trying to work on building relationships and not be transactional. So that's important for a successful business. You also want to help reduce the sales friction, right? What do I mean by that? Sales friction. So if you're purchasing a new electronic device like a phone or laptop, let me ask you, what are 2 questions you might need to answer before you're ready to buy a new phone or laptop? So you're in the market for a new electronic device. What are you gonna ask the salesperson? How much does it cost?
Does it do every single thing under the sun?
Right, does it do what I need it to do, right? Yeah, price is really important. How does it compare to other products? Is it reliable, right? Does it come with a warranty? What are some of the features of what will it do? Will it do the things I need it to do? That's what I said.
I go in when I get a phone and ask, why the hell would I want to buy this?
Yeah,
And half the time they stand there with a blank look.
right.
I know what I'm going in for. I mean, I won't buy that. I dealt with Steve Jobs. I won't buy that.
Yeah,
And what do they push the first time? Oh, we got the new hell cares? It's the same as the other one. Except they changed the number and made it thinner. That is honestly the only thing they've done.
Yeah,
But they're charging me $2,000 for the phone.
right.
Why do I want to buy this phone? Sell me the damn phone. And they just stand there with their mouth open.
Yeah. They're expecting you to
They're
want it so
expecting me to come in
bad.
and go, I'm looking for an i17.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's lazy salespeople, I guess. Huh?
Oh, they don't like it when I walk in.
It's funny. All right. Yeah, so important to make that sales experience as effortless as possible, right? That will be key to your success. Make it easy to pay you, right? In person or online. Easy to bill you. Successful businesses that make things easy. What's a difficult business to deal with here? I don't want to pick on anybody specific, but
Hospital.
the hospital.
You pay a bill, but you still get phone calls saying that it's owed to you.
Yeah.
And then you get a mailing that says it's owed, you owe it even though you paid it.
Right. Or they tell you your insurance didn't cover it, right?
No. I've gone in, paid the bill, and 40 days later I get a letter in the mail saying it's overdue.
Not a good experience from a consumer standpoint.
They're billing people who are in Philadelphia, don't bother checking again in computers.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very important to do that. You know, put yourself in the as a business owner, put yourself in the shoes of the customer, right? Like, what am I doing, and how is that going to impact my consumer, my customer? Sometimes you're surprised in that exercise. Avoid long forms, right? Our bank president says this all the time. We got to keep things simple. We got to be easy to do business with, right? I want to apply for a loan. Here's this 10-page application. Why don't you go fill that out and bring that back to me? Right? How about I fill out this application for you, let you look it over, and then if you agree with everything, sign and give it back to me, right? So it depends on your approach to things. So walk through that buyer's journey if you were brand new, right? Make it clear and easier. Give customers a clear and visible way to have questions answered. Startup costs. Oh, I'm going to open this business. How much is it going to cost me to do that? Those are things that you want to keep in mind. Understand your road to profitability, right? Well, this class has talked a lot about budgeting. Well, you got to budget also for the business, right? So create a budget and add those starting expenses to it. I think this will help track your expenses. It will help you be successful. Identify your break-even point, right? I put this much capital into it, this much time. When am I going to see a good return? So on page 9 of your participants guide, there's a worksheet there that also helps you with this. So once you can put all your startup expenses in there and apply it to your business, and you can link. There's a link on that page. It doesn't reference here on the manual, but on the electronic version, it links you back out to other locations. But these links are also listed in the back of the packet. So use that participant guide. All right. How am I going to fund my business? Most businesses, when they start, they're not. It's personal funding. Bank business loans are easier to secure. The longer you've been in business. But usually, a financial institution wants to see a solid track record before they lend to you, because they want to make sure that you're not going to go out of business and they're going to get their money back, right? So, if you need additional startup funds before you qualify for a loan, look at options for funding for you, right? And that can include all sorts of things. It can be loans, it can be grants, it can be crowdfunding. So as your business grows, you're going to want to look at strategies to protect yourself from loss. most businesses, they start in a garage, right? Apple, start in a garage. Microsoft, start in a garage.
Wow.
Amazon, start in a garage, right? So even though you may think, well, I'm starting this little small business, that evolves, right? Dynamics change. As a business owner, you always have to keep in mind of what's happening in your market, and are things changing and you're not changing with them, right? Let me use this example. Who here remembers Blockbuster? Every Friday night, right? That's right. And then what happened to Blockbuster? They went bankrupt.
There's one store left of that.
One store left. Netflix, right? Netflix came.
Prime,
They turned them down. They didn't buy them.
Netflix, Prime.
Yeah, all these streaming services, right, that came out. So, with Blockbuster didn't fail because people stopped watching movies, right? It failed because they didn't listen to how people wanted to watch movies. Like our industry in banking is going through an exercise like this today. Because you have so many choices when it comes to banking. It's like, why am I going to choose your bank over some other bank? And, I can do it on my app here real quickly. So as a business owner, you got to always be thinking about how is technology impacting my business? How am I going to continue to stay competitive? So those are all, I went off script here a little bit, but those are all things that you want to keep in mind. Risk. Gosh, there's so much risk in owning a business too, right? We've talked about some of the importances of making sure you're structured properly to protect your personal assets. But risk management is important too for owning and starting a business. So risk management is the process of identifying and minimizing any potential risks that you might have to your business, right? And often we learned about insurance here the other day, right? Or last couple weeks ago. Insurance, right? As a business owner, sometimes you need insurance. So common types of business insurance policies that you're going to need: health, auto, commercial, life, liability. So it really depends on how many people do you employ, right? Because if it's just you may not want to offer. You don't have to offer benefits to anybody else. But if you're employing folks, it changes the dynamic when you're a brick and mortar business and you have employees, because then you'll need to give consideration to liability insurance, workers' comp insurance, unemployment insurance, all sorts of different types of insurance. Okay. Finally, right, put a plan into action, right? So you got to set your goals, you got to implement your plan, you got to track your results, and adapt as you go along. So your long-term goal may be to have a prosperous business, but the road to that success, we talked about it earlier, it's paved with many small goals. Right, so tackle this in small bites. Remember that each small goal you set helps bring that bigger goal closer. If you aren't sure what your next steps are, you got the guide there, that participants guide. Review those materials when you get home, right? Set up at least one specific measurable goal with a deadline if you're serious about it. I'm going to do research on market demand for what I'm trying to offer. And I'm going to do that by next week. Next month. Implement your plan, right? There's plenty of people and resources available to help you. It's really up to you to make this business happen. It's not going to just happen by itself. And sometimes it's okay if your path doesn't move in a straight line. There's a lot to learn and discover in the building of a business, but just keep setting goals and keep achieving. Track your results too. The best ideas result from trial and error. So, you know, it's okay to fail sometimes and make a mistake on something as long as you learn from it. Right? Pay attention to the results of your efforts and be ready to adapt as you get more information and as opportunities present themselves. The important thing is continue to set those goals, achieve them, you know, take notice of the results and of your efforts, and just adapt and repeat that all the time. All right, here's some key takeaways from what we talked about, right? Take time to research and plan, right? Research that plan, put some time and energy on it. It will save you money in the long run. Use the materials that I gave you as a guide to help you be successful in this adventure. Ask for help and support and guidance. Go talk to your banker, go talk to your CPA, your lawyer, accountant, your friends. Come see any of us. We'll be glad to help you, steer you in the right direction. But, you know, the important thing is make consistent progress towards your goal so you can get where you want to go. Did I give you enough today? I feel like I gave you some good takeaways.
Yes, yes.
Did you feel like you're better prepared now to start a business? No? Sir, as a business owner, did I talk about anything that was meaningful to you? I did? Okay, good.
It's changed a lot. I mean, I've basically been out of that since 1987. Ended up working as a regional technical supervisor for FLI. Ended up working for Homeland Security. A number of changes to get that. I wasn't really aware of.
Yeah. The sky's the limit. You know, like look at South Georgia Banking Company. I'm going to use them because I happen to work there. But they start in 1970, right? So it's been in business 55 years. This little outfit in Omega, Georgia, just a group of men who came together. They knew that the community needed a bank, and they formed a group partnership together, and they launched and they opened a bank. And today, that vision that they had back in the 70s, we're a $550 million company today. We're independently owned. 400 families own our bank. They all live in the communities that we serve. So that's real powerful, right? So we're sort of a model of success when it comes to business ownership and being a successful business. So, any questions for me or any of the team that's here?
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the business brands, what is brand? What is that?
Business grants?
No, you have other business brands, B-R-A-N.
A business brand.
Yes, what is brand voice? What is that?
A brand voice?
Yes.
Yeah, a brand voice is it's basically how does your business speak about what it's doing, right? Like, let's use South Georgia Bank Company. Our brand voice, right? We're independently owned, right? We're community focused. We give you good service, right? You're not just a number when you come to see us. We know you, we know your family. All those elements comprise of a brand voice. Like if you look at Nike, you know, what is Nike? Nike's like, just do it, right? That's their slogan. They're into athleticism, right? That their voice is to make sure that people get their sneakers if they're going to be, you know, like running marathons or culture. Yeah, it's another form of advertising. It's a culture.
It gets a little deeper. It's like your culture, it's your personality of the company itself, it's the voice of the company. Not necessarily all of it, but it's what kind of company, I said personality, culture, a lot of it is a part of the company itself. Project itself, marketing,
Right.
all that kind of moment, the voice.
But that's a great question, Stephanie. Very, very great question. What other questions? I know we're almost up with our time here, and I want to get you out in time. But do you have any additional questions for me? Any thoughts, feedback? No? Okay. Well, if you want to ask a question, but you don't want to do it in a group, I'm going to be hanging around here in be glad to answer any of your questions. Thank you so much for coming out today and spending some time with us. And hopefully you're going to walk away being a little bit more prepared if you want to start a business. And in most businesses, like I said, they start in a garage, right? But then they can become very successful.
Yeah, actually, I don't start so many salon business, and about a year and a half, and it will be helpful today, but I do live in that, and as you see, a lot of times I did just jump in, and initially when I opened my first salon by myself, I mean, my sister already had one, I wasn't gonna do it, I was gonna move, but the young lady that I was moving with, she like, you can do it. And I did, and so I don't give up, so I'm starting and stopping, so I'm not giving up, because I'm gonna be a millionaire one day, so.
Yeah, no, keep fighting at it, right? Like even like Apple, for example, they almost went bankrupt, right? They still got stuff to work on.
They've gone back, almost gone back 3 times.
Right.
And I did research on different ones, like, Chaos, Connoisseur, he was like 70-something years old, and 49, they had 49, so I'm like, if I gotta be 509 or whatever, I got, I don't have no businesses.
Right. See, but now you got your guide, you can go back, you can do some additional research to help aid your existing business, right? Like if you got 10 salons around you, what are they not doing that I could be doing, right? They might not do braids, right? They might not do something that you can specifically be good at. So, all right. Thank you all.
Thank you. Clap it up. I tell you, my educator's voice to get his voice across, okay? So we really do appreciate our friend Victor for coming and just sharing all that wealth of knowledge. And I think, some of you all might be at 9 centimeters, some of you all may be at 10, some of you all might be already ready to push. And just go ahead and do what you do. Just do what you do, okay? And make it happen. I mean, yeah, I think for me, whenever I think about something that I was thinking about, the thing that really just, and I have a book that has my thoughts in it, but what scared me, and I did go through the SBA thing, all that, I saw all that paperwork, and the business plan, and I thought to myself, I ain't got time, not doing it, not going. But who knows, this may be something that sparks me back, to pick it back up, because ChatGPT is my friend, and I do know how to use her. I call mine ChatGPT, I call her Cynthia. And I will talk to Cynthia, let Cynthia help guide me through the process. Cynthia, this is what I need, and I will probably put what I put in my book, I might put it in ChatGPT and see what she spits out. Because it's a very, very good tool if you know how to use it. Right? So, thank you again, Victor. Victor has some stuff.
Yeah, I got some stuff, right? First of all, who has been to every class? Do we have anybody here who's been to every class? Raise your hand. Okay. You've been to every class? You've been to Dr. Tim, you've been a moderator.
You missed class.
People back there. Who's been to every class? Every class. You can't miss one. You just started back. You've been every class. You've been every class. This is a little congratulations.